All right, hey, what's up? Welcome to a third episode of the LooseKeys podcast. And I'm here with Jake Williams and Ethan Barnowski. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on?
And we're mixing things up again just on this third episode. It's a, ever-evolving format what we're trying to do. So we're all in the office together over here at the LooseKeys office in Roscoe Village. So that's super exciting. Yeah, how you guys doing? You're never here, really. Once a week, every 3 or 4 months, I say.
Reach out and touch both.
Yeah,
That's weird.
I just got touched.
So there's perks all around.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's no delay. Like, it's weird. You get into this like Skype conversation, talking or Hangouts or whatever.
Yeah.
And you like wait for each other. And we're like, no, we can actually like read the room because we're actually physically in the same space.
Which is, I guess, a funny topic for us to talk about this week, or maybe an appropriate one, because we're going to talk about like working remote, working at home, because Ethan is leaving LooseKeys. If you're listening and haven't heard that, or
Breaking news.
haven't seen us post about it.
Sorry, I need to fix this.
He is going off and going to do his own thing, which is going to involve a lot of work at home.
Yeah.
How you feeling about that?
I'm super excited. It's going to be a lot of new challenges, obviously, but it'll be a fun way to mix up life and try new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As far as working from home goes, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
We have a habit of doing podcast topics, and then not practicing them in the episode. Like talking today about remote work, and we're all in the office. We're really good at doing the opposite of what we say.
But Jake, you've been doing it for what, 1.5 years now?
Yeah, something like that.
So you've probably had the ups and downs of it. The exciting, like, this is gonna be great. Get so much work done. I'm at home. I won't be commuting to the. This is awful because I never leave the house and I don't commute.
Yeah, it's a balance. So if you ever need any help, I'm
sure I'll need advice.
I know you guys have both worked remotely before, but this was really the first time I'd ever done it, ever.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm in the thick of it, and now I also have a puppy. So it's like, okay, I have like a companion now, so that helped. But it's a crazy balance. Actually, before I went remote, it was October 2016 when I left here and I moved out to Detroit, and I read a book by the guys who started 37 Signals. It's called Remote. And it's pretty old now by comparison. I feel like it's like 6 or 7 years old now. But it's still got a lot of good information to like help you contextualize what you're doing. Like, I still have the same job. I just happen to not be in the room.
Else, yeah.
And it helps. It like eases you a lot. But there's definitely also they're like, well, there's challenges. You need to go talk to people. Like, you literally need to leave the house and get dinner with people sometimes because you will go nuts. So that was a big help when I started.
But by 37 Signals, written by someone who's here in Chicago, where going out is much easier too than when you're in the suburbs of Detroit or in North Dakota, where going out requires like a lot of effort sometimes.
Planning, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I had still been here, I guess you'll have that benefit, Ethan, being still in the city is like, you can just walk to somewhere if you need to. So at least getting out of the house, there's stuff to do pretty close. And not to say, like, I live kind of close to stuff, but it's still a little bit of a hike, so.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to have this office here by myself, so I kind of be working from home, but I'll be by myself, so it's like I leave and go somewhere else to do the same stuff I could do at home.
Right.
But I don't have anyone to talk to or that companionship at the office.
You need the office cat. We always talked about.
Yeah, I don't think Maeve will let me get the office cat because she doesn't like the idea that this cat just stays here and doesn't get any
and then
pets.
you have to leave at the end of the day.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Later, cat.
If you could just build a series of tunnels from your house to here, they could just walk home.
Yeah. Anything you've done, Jake, to help you cope with that besides like the getting out and the dog? Just like, any advice you have for people
get a dog.
Get a dog and leave the house.
Yeah, I think social interactions is the first part, obviously. So I'll glaze over that. But basically, you need to like find your people. You do need to find community, especially if you live like, I don't know. I guess I could have moved to the suburbs of Chicago and I probably would have just come to town on the weekends and hung out with my friends.
Yeah.
So. Especially if you're in our industry, we talked about it on the last episode. There are meetups in all kinds of places, so that's where I've met people that I get along with, and we can share work and talk about work stories because even sometimes in this industry, it's a weird industry. Like even your spouses don't really understand what you do or why you do it, or the struggles and challenges you have with that. So finding like-minded people like that is a good thing. And then I think what was it? What other tips?
Tips, yeah. Does chatting with people online actually fill that void? There's some of that, like early on when people were just starting the remote work idea, or the idea was becoming fashionable. It's like, oh yeah, make sure you're on Twitter and you can chat with people. And now that just feels like a noise. Something sometimes. It
can be. You definitely you have to have discipline. Like seriously, like, and I don't claim to have perfected that, but like you need to recognize when you've been on Twitter for half an hour versus like when you just checked it because somebody wanted to get at you for something. I will say there's friends here that they're industry friends, but they don't work for us. I chat with more now that I'm gone than I ever did when I was here, which is kind of a weird thing to me, but it's like, oh yeah, we had this other interest. So in my case, video games, and it's like, I can still chat with this person and play games with them. And I actually do it more now that I'm not, in just a different neighborhood. It's kind of a weird side effect, I guess, of moving. But,
Is that the fact that you're trying to fill that need, that like maybe you go out of your way more because you're like, oh well, I'll see you next month at your party or whatever? So
probably, I think I had to kind of grow that, like, whatever you want to call it, like trait again, to want to reach out to people, because I'm like, look, no one's going to reach out to me because I'm way out here now. So that's been a good connection. But I think being disciplined about your time. I also think, like, realize that not like you have to visualize yourself back in your office or something with your coworkers, but like realize that the fact that somebody is over your shoulder or next to you doesn't necessarily change how you're going to do your work.
Right.
Your mind might think of it differently, I guess, but like there's almost no reason to ever be at someone's office, in my opinion, these days. Like, I would like a space that's not my home, or a little bit more separate from my home, to like work out of, because it's hard to separate those two things. But like, once you start doing it, like, I don't know, if you do what I did and just move away, you kind of have to hit the ground running and figure it out.
But that was something nice about when we were at bomb camp. It was a co-working space, and you're around these other people, and you're not so much worried about them looking over your shoulder being like, oh, you're checking Twitter now. It's more of the inspiration of like, oh man, that guy's working on something cool. I should be working on something cool, not doing this thing. Like, what am I doing? The ideas and that creative kind of, I don't know, mojo or something just kind of
there's like a community element, that you get to be a part of.
And I think with that too is also like learning from other people. The co-working space was great because there were people there that did 3D. The Grayscale Gorillas guys were there, and we didn't know how to do that as well then. So any silly question I would have, reaching over to Chris Schmidt was like the easiest thing to do. So like, I think that's maybe a thing you lose, is that I think you get better in this industry not from like taking courses, but from like learning from other people on the job. Like, I think that's probably one of the better ways. And so having people around who are better than you to like teach you those things, whether it's just questions, is obviously much easier to like walk over to someone and ask versus email someone you may have just met at a meetup and say like, I had these questions about this thing, which totally also works, by the way. But being in the same room, I guess, kind of like removes that barrier.
Yeah, right? Especially if it's a stupid question, like if you just are like an idiot and you're like, what's that keyboard command again? Or like, why'd my stuff disappear? Oh, I clicked a button. And you just, someone else is like, yeah, it's right there. You can't email, or you don't want that internet record of like, I forgot the shortcut for how to save. But I am terrible at working at home, and I get very distracted by everything else that I could possibly do at home. It's like, oh, maybe I should just throw another load in the washing machine, and then I'll go do that and come back and be like, oh, let's do dishes. And I'm also someone that works constantly and will go home and work, so the idea of having all day is not always good for me being at home.
I think it's something with time. Those little house things like become, you just get used to them and you work around them, right? So like, I gotta let the dog out. Sometimes she gets restless in the afternoon and wants to play. Okay, well, I know I can take 10-15 minutes here and like throw the football around for her, versus like thinking I gotta be at her beck and call all the time. I tell my dog all the time, I'm like, no, you're good. You're good. I just took you out. You're fine for a little while. This is my time. No, but like small things like the dishwasher, or like, oh, the mail just came, or a package showed up, like small things that can derail your day. It's just, I guess it's back to like discipline, I guess, like trying to say like, that's not what I'm getting paid to do currently. Like, I should,
I feel like when I have worked from home, I'm much more like deliberate about my time, so I feel more focused. But at the same time, like before I worked for LooseKeys, I had freelance for a while, and when I first started freelancing and working from home, like I had no idea what I was doing. In that whole world of freelance, on top of like there weren't any guides out there or anything of like this is what you need to do. Like I had no direction or understanding, so I would it was really easy to lose track of time and not work for like a couple days and be like, oh, I'm just like slobbing on the couch, like I would just like take midday naps and stuff, so like I think now I have a lot more perspective, but I feel like that's, if you're not careful about it, you could fall back into that.
Yeah, are you worried about that now that you're going to be going back home and doing that?
I'm worried. I'm not worried that it's actually going to happen, but I'm very conscious of that being a possibility. So I need to be deliberate with my time and be, have to-do lists and schedules for my time. Like as soon as I start, full-time freelance, my plan is to try a schedule that I'm doing every day. Like I'm gonna, wake up at the same time as my wife so that I don't think, oh, I can just sleep in and then work later or something, and then if I don't have work, while things are starting off, hopefully I can do a tutorial or work on personal projects or, work on an email database or whatever it is, I definitely need to be conscious of pitfalls.
I think obviously not everyone's in this situation, but syncing up with a significant other is really good. Kind of keeps you on track because they have to get up and go to the office to whatever job they might have. I think they could be freelance too. Who knows? But or be at home too. But that helps because I think one of the hardest things to separate is work and life, and not letting your 8-hour day turn into a 16-hour day because you decided to oh, there's a show on. I gotta watch Wheel of Fortune. It's on.
Yeah,
so
that's what we do at 10 o'clock. Yeah.
So it's easy to lose track of time and think oh, you know what? I kind of just wasted an hour. After lunch, I was slow or something. I'll just tack it on later tonight or whatever. And it's well, nobody asked you to. You should have just used it when you had the hour. But again, it's the challenge of separating your life and your work when you're in the same spot. I think. Yeah.
That work-life balance thing. I don't think anyone's ever figured it out perfectly.
No.
There's people who preach it and try to tell you what to do, but you got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, everyone has different personalities and workflows. So.
Yeah, so for me, I think a lot of the time I will be coming to the office, even if I'm here by myself or there's other freelancers in or someone else joins the team. It's just being here, I think, make sure I accomplish what I need to get done or what I want to get done for that day.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans to try to do co-working spaces, Ethan, if you start to
I guess we'll see.
Claustrophobic at home? Or?
Yeah, it's all up in the air still, obviously, but I think for now I'm going to try to work from home. I have a dedicated office in my condo, and it's set up with everything I need to work and stuff, so hopefully I can do that, and if it starts to feel stuffy or I need to get out, then we'll see. But
yeah.
Well, I got an extra desk at the Detroit office if you need a place to work for the day. So
kill a day going up there.
Yeah, I'll bring my laptop on the train and get some work done.
That's fine.
I think a lot of people are jealous of, especially seeing people's offices online, like a Casey Neistat kind of idea. It's that office looks so great, I would accomplish so much and get it done, but we don't even know how much he is there and actually doing work there. Those kind of people, those images you see or hear about online, it may not work for them either.
I think the biggest thing is figuring out what works for you. I think starting at home is perfect. If you feel you start getting claustrophobic, figure it out.
A lot of our friends that do this for themselves work, that started out working from home, eventually decided they needed to do a co-working setup or get their own space and stuff. So we'll see.
And so that's on the freelancer side, but it's worked out pretty well for us at LooseKeys here with Jake. You're in Michigan. We work with people who help with other parts of it that sometimes work from home or they come in the office here, but I don't think that deters any, growth of a company. And you mentioned 37 Signals, who was a big proponent of remote workers for a long time.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm going to misspeak, but I feel their company is 40, 50 people, but only a handful of them work here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right. And they have a couple times a year, maybe they'll come together and work for a week or something like that. But Yeah, we only have a 1 hour time difference, so like overcoming that has not been difficult. Like even if we only have overlap for like 7 hours, it's plenty. Like,
Yeah,
it seems
for
to
sure.
be fine. Yeah, and maybe it was like at the start, it might have been a little slower because it was like figuring out like, oh, I can't just like look at what Jake's working on right now or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I have to be like, hey, do you want to go in the file and see if it?
Yeah, here's a screenshot.
Yeah.
This is what we're thinking.
At this point, it just, for us personally, it comes down to like trust. Like, well,
Oh,
I
for
know he's
sure,
going to take care of it. So
Yeah, and like I think it was more the main adjustment was like the friendship side and like hanging out, which we already talked about. Like we can't do that together as coworkers, but like as people, you need to be able to like get that from somewhere else, So like being conscious of going out and meeting up with people or whatever after work is a good idea too.
Yeah, hearing about all the cool lunches you guys have has been tough. But I'm like, well, I'm just gonna.
We usually only go to Half Acre and meet up with Run Kick Shout. That's it.
Yeah.
It's more rare than you'd think too.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I think finding those people for your team to grow or build from. We were talking to the people from PsyOp recently on a Toon Talk Weekly episode, and they were talking about my cats are trying to kill my grandma. I messed up the name there. I know I did. But they were talking about that show, and their writer is in Portland. They have an artist in, I think, Spain.
In Tel Aviv, yeah.
In Tel Aviv. And so it's just finding the appropriate people wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it does it. As long as the work gets done and you trust that, it can happen.
And we're coming at this from like a small agile studio too. I'm sure there might be people that listen to this that are, I don't want to say you work at like an old archaic kind of studio place, but you know what I mean? Like there are places that have systems in place of years and years and years, and they have bigger staffs and things like that, and they're still maybe not coming around on the idea of remote work. But I know that at least the way I worked for a bigger company before coming to LooseKeys, and they started doing work from home kind of stuff, and it was like originally you would start with a day, like a day or two a month you could do it, and then as you like your boss realized the work was getting done and stuff, you could like improve it basically. So we know that like we're saying all this stuff and it does sound really cool and hip or whatever, but we're like a couple of guys and we can just decide to do it, right? There's not a lot of hoops to jump through. If it's ever something you'd be interested in, I feel like companies these days are getting more progressive. They want people, younger people like us, who want to have those type of benefits. It's worth bringing up.
And sometimes it's just access to the files that most of the time we're working on Dropbox, or if we need to, we can send files, email, or other things that are larger. But like when you start to do like video editing or stuff with a lot of footage or 3D rendering that you need to farm, that does get kind of hard.
Sure.
Like, I can't edit here one day with this 2 terabytes of footage and then like, I gotta take those hard drives and go here somewhere else. Yeah.
You look weird at the coffee shop with a bunch of hard drives around your machine.
Yeah, well, you're that guy with your iMac and a bunch of hard drives at the coffee shop or sitting at Whole Foods. It's like, really, man?
It's like if you had to bring a surge protector, it's too much stuff.
Can't wait to see someone with their like VR setup. Like my house is just too small. I had to come to Whole Foods and like set this up here in the corner.
Xbox on those.
It's really too far. Well, cool. Like, excited for what your thoughts are, Ethan, as you move forward with this and the opportunities you have. And
definitely, like, there's so many possibilities. Like, I'd love to try out remote work, like where my wife's a teacher, so in the summer we were talking about, like, probably not this year, but next year maybe, like, going somewhere for an extended period of time and me being able to set up work if I have a project or something. But like that has its own set of challenges, so who knows what'll happen. But
but there are people that do that go by like digital nomads or something, where they like, I'm a writer and every 3 or 4 months or whatever we live in a different country or something.
Right. I think for me it would seem like the problem could possibly be that like you wouldn't be able to enjoy the travel part, like if you're just inside, like, so who knows, maybe you could. I guess we'll see. But,
I think you're there for different reasons. Then you're there to just live and experience it, or you're there to like take in as much as you can because you might never be back here again. Right, so I gotta
so who knows, but it's exciting.
Cool. Well, I think that's super fun episode for number 3 here. Nice to
not remote at all.
Not remote. We're talking to remote work, not remote.
First episode, how do you end projects?
And yeah, now we have a podcast that Ethan is leaving, so it may just become Jake and I, or maybe Ethan
I'd still stick around and
comes
guess.
on and guests for us.
We do a recap, like a remote recap after a few months.
Yeah.
See how it's going.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. Looks like a caveman.
Yeah, the next episode could be like how to be a full-time employee, just to like do the opposite of what we did like all the other ones. I don't know, something like that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, cool. Yeah, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. That's where we're putting up these videos. It'll probably go back to the Hangout format where you guys can see us full frame there, but mix it up, get the cameras, be in the office, and we'll be back soon. Seems like every other week an episode, but who knows?
Yep.
Take care.